Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello. How is everybody today? I hope everybody is doing well. As some people probably saw on Twitter, I have not been doing very well, but I am here and alive. So that's good. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Sally Blake. I am the CEO of Silent Games, and we're doing some streams to just talk about the game industry. Daniel's here as well. Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
You want to do a little intro?
I am here.
Hello.
Yep, I'm here. I'm Daniel, and I run the QA for Silent Games.
Yes. So hello, Fovspect is in the chat. Hello. I hope I said that right. Oh, we've got a new follower. Hello. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for the follow. We're trying to get to 50 because we want to be affiliate. So anyone that follows us, that's very helpful. If you don't follow us already, please do. But yeah, it's good to see people. I know we are. Yeah, lots of people have followed us. So thanks very much for that. How is everybody today? Have you been playing any good games? Have you got any game industry questions? Then this is the place. I also have a list of, I guess it's tons of like thought-provoking questions because last time we just kind of, we skimmed the surface of a lot of questions that people had, but we also, I had some more that can like bring a bit more depth, I think. Maybe they'll be difficult to answer questions, but yeah. So that will be fun.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted, exactly. Also, we are playing web fishing, so you can see my character on screen now. Last time we managed to get some loot. It's not the most glamorous loot in the world, but my little cat has like a little t-shirt and pants now, so you know there's that. But yeah, let's get started, shall we? To begin with, if anyone in the chat has any questions to start off with, we can, answer anything that people might be, wondering about. Anything to do with the game industry, anything to do with running a studio. If you work in games already or you don't and you're just interested in the game industry, that's fine. Or if you've got any students watching, also fine. So yeah, just give us a shout if you've got anything that you want to know about the game industry. It's a very kind of low-key, chill, casual kind of chat today. So yes. Firstly though, I don't recall what fish I caught last time because I was too busy chatting to everybody. Where do you think the best fish are like on the beach? I feel like we were getting like
We were getting some good stuff.
Some good stuff, some better fish.
I've just found that there's a quest board.
Yeah, if you can like sell your fish if you go to that and like make some money.
No. It's like there's a rewards, like you claim stuff.
Oh yeah, I think that's how I got the t-shirts. So that's good.
Oh.
But yeah, shall I start off with? Let me look at my question list. Okay, actually, right. There's 20 questions on here.
Oh, 20 questions.
There's 20 questions, and maybe pick a number 1 to 20, and then I'll ask that question, and we can like go that way. What do you think?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll take that on.
Yeah. So pick a number 1 to 20.
I'll pick 13. 13's always a good starting number.
Okay, this is a difficult one for us, but it might be doable. There's like a whole section on like technical and team dynamics. So the question is, what's a technical breakthrough in your project that you're most proud of?
Ooh, okay. Technical breakthrough. I think potentially like getting the grips of the game engine. I think that's like a big thing because without having that fundamental skill, then you're not going to really do much in the engine. So I think that was a good technical breakthrough. But I think like one thing I can probably say is like when it comes to level design stuff, I've been like starting to break through a lot of interesting ideas for level design stuff. So I think like I've learned a lot of new skills of how level design works and like how important it is, and just like learning those skills to adjust how the game should feel as you're going through the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, I guess you mentioned there, because obviously for everyone watching, this is like a newbie versus veteran stream. So obviously I've been in the game industry for a very long time, like 13 years, over 13 years now, and Daniel's just joined. So basically we have different types of experience. So This is the credit to the team really in terms of like our technical achievements, but our upcoming game is in UE5, and we've utilized a lot of the we were very early adopters of UE5, so a lot of the stuff that the programming team and the artists have been working on is new UE5 stuff. So Nanite, Lumen, MetaHumans, we've made use of. So yeah, I think that's been an interesting experience, and it's definitely been a learning curve for everybody. But one of the things, because we are such an ambitious studio and we wanted to create a big game, one of the things that was important to us is that we embrace new technology. And that was always one of our strategies from the start. So, and I do think it's allowed us to create a really stunning looking game that we'll be able to share with people. So yeah, I think yeah, mastering a lot of the intricacies of UE5.
Say on that question.
Yeah, it's we can go as far as that, I think. But yeah.
That's the difference between a veteran and a new person. A new person's like, oh, you keep
that is one thing, yeah. Like, what can I say? What is under NDA?
So there's a good example.
Well, I'm the boss, so I can say what I want. It's fine. That's how it works. Yeah. But if anyone in chat has questions, then obviously like reach out. That's what we're here for today. Answering any questions that people might have. I'm gonna get some more bait actually, because that was a problem before. Kept running out. Refilled the worm bait.
And chat's still not going to help you refill either.
I know. Last time I was like, chat, remind me to refill the bait because I keep forgetting. Nobody did, which was very sad. But here we are.
Which helped me level up massively. So keep that up, please.
Yeah. Keep it up.
Please just keep that up.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. I feel like that was an interesting question, but I feel like we can do better. So pick another number.
Better? Oh, 13's my favourite number.
It's unlucky. It's unlucky.
No, it's only.
I want to ask a dramatic question. I don't know if there's any like a controversial question.
Dramatic one.
A controversial one.
Let's see. We'll go number 9.
Okay,
please.
let's have a look. Number 9. Okay. What non-gaming mediums like books, movies, music have influenced you the most in terms of your game development career, essentially?
Ooh, that is a good one, actually. Because I think when it comes to games, there's a lot of references to other like medias.
Mm-hmm.
Some of which that has now became some of my favorite of all time. So, like examples could be like Blade Runner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Blade Runner is like a really like one of my favorite films now, and that was mentioned in many games. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. And like the way the narrative is in Blade Runner, I really like the ending, how it just completely catches you off guard.
No spoilers, just in case. Even though the film's old.
It's very old. It's older than me. I think it's older than all of us here, probably.
Oh my god, that makes me feel young. I'm not that old, but I am one of the oldest here. I'm 33, right? So that's old for the game industry, unfortunately. But yeah, we've got a question. So, hi, how has it been? Hello, Zayed Designs. How has it been running your studio so far in terms of working on games, having enough funds to run the studio, etc.? That is a big question. I always wanted to run my own game studio ever since I was a kid. So for me, this was always the ultimate goal. And I also worked in the industry for a long time before I started my own studio. So I had a really good grasp of the game industry and I guess the ins and outs of it. I was a producer as well, so I got to see a lot of the... I worked at a smaller studio, so I got to see like a lot of the financial side of it as well. So I think I was quite well prepared in terms of budgeting and what was required. So that was very helpful. But, you know, obviously funding your studio, it's been very, very difficult in the last couple of years. There's been mass layoffs in the industry. That's no secret at all. Fell in the water. Unlucky straight away.
Jared, sorry to interrupt.
Hello, Jared. Hello. Good to see you again. So yeah, obviously, I think most people who have in the game industry or at any proximity knows how challenging it's been to get funding. I am very, very confident in our game and our product. I think it's going to resonate with a lot of players. So I was very happy to get a publishing deal. And yeah, more on that another time. But yeah, it's been very challenging, and a lot of my friends' studios have closed down, which has been it's just been very challenging, and it's been upsetting to see that happen to people who, for whom they've worked really hard to build their studio. But also it's incredibly rewarding. There's obviously high highs and low lows when you're running a studio. It's a challenging thing to do. But I also think, thank you very much for the follow, Reese. Thank you so much. Yay. Yeah, I think it's certainly worth it. And if this is what you want to do, then there's a lot of people that will help you. I've found that the game industry community and other company founders it doesn't feel like we're in competition with each other, which a lot of industries, there's trade secrets. You don't share, you don't help each other because you're competitors. In the game industry, it's not like that. So yeah, my first comment will be Jaren smells. Lovely. And a very important comment to make. Jaren is our character artist. I cannot confirm or deny whether he smells or not. But thanks. Thanks for that.
I mean,
I'm sure he'll be happy.
You might smell good, you might smell bad.
Savage. But yeah, I hope that answers your questions, Ayad Designs. Like I say, it's been challenging. I think for funding, the funding landscape's changed quite a lot in recent years because basically you could sometimes get funding on a pitch, like just a pitch deck. Those days are long gone unless you are a very prestigious developer and you're very well known. You definitely need a demo now, and it needs to be playable and it needs to be good. And for that, if you're starting off, I started off with basically no money, right? I didn't have loads of money to start a studio, and some people do. They have a lot of savings and stuff like that. I didn't, just to be transparent. So one thing that really helped us was the UK Games Fund. They funded our prototype. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to do it, honestly. Don't know where we would have got the money from if it wasn't for them to do that. So I think that definitely helped. And our friends doing a lot of work for Mates Rates, again, like that's so valuable. Building those relationships in the game industry is super important, and then rewarding people later when you're successful. Jared started a studio with £2,000 in his bank account. I think that's probably more than I had, not to just reveal my personal finances to the world, but I'm constantly skint. So, yeah, not ideal, but yeah. Oh, negative two. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I thought you meant 2,000, which isn't too bad. Okay, that's probably worse than me then. I don't think I was in debt at that time, but I have been. So, yeah, not ideal. Yeah, but
I mean, I can't comment. I don't run a studio.
No, but I guess you've seen the ups and downs that the studio goes through when you're working in an indie. It's, you don't have I mean, AAAs have gone through it this year as well and last year. Normally AAA, people work in AAA because you're working on prestigious titles for one, but also it seems a bit more stable. But even in AAA, it's been very challenging even in AAA where there's usually stability with jobs. I could talk about why the game industry is in the state it's in, if people are interested in that, like my opinion on why the layoffs have happened and things like that. But I don't know how interested people are in that. I
think you could just do a whole video on that.
Honestly, you could. There's a lot of complexities around it, but it's a few different things that have led to that happening. I mean, okay, this is my opinion, but I feel like a lot of development teams have become very bloated in the past few years. Like we did have a boom in 2020 where there was a lot of hires being made. And the price of games, obviously, there are some exceptions to this. Like there are games being sold for £70 now, and there are games being sold like limited editions for hundreds of pounds and things like that. But generally speaking, the price of games, did I level up or something? Yes, I ranked up to rank 8, yay. The price of games hasn't hugely increased over the years. I think I recall buying Zelda Ocarina of Time for like £40 back in the day. So, and yeah, so the return on investment has always been tricky in games. But another problem is the market is very, very saturated. I'm sure people have seen the statistics on Steam about the number of games being released. And so there's just a lot more competition as well. So in order to make money, you have to have basically a sure bet. The game needs to be extremely good, of course. That's important. Oh, I've got no bet again. I've done that thing that I always do. And yeah, there's just a lot more competition. So your costs as a studio are going up because this is a global phenomenon right now. The costs of electricity, hardware, staff has increased hugely. The price of games has increased a bit, but not to the same degree as the costs of running a studio have. The market is a lot more competitive now. So yeah, basically, there's just a lot more risk involved in making games, and the costs have increased. And also, platforms take a cut. There's taxes as well. So basically, a developer will see maybe, if you don't have a publisher, a developer will see, usually the calculation is about half. So if you sell a game for 20 quid, you'll see about 10 of it. Then if you think, hey, there's a publishing deal, say you've got a 50-50 publishing deal, which in these modern times is a good deal, then you'll see £5 of that deal. And that's without, I didn't go and get paid. I walked around and then didn't go and get it.
Keep distracting.
I know, sorry. And that's without any other costs incurred in that, like engine royalties and stuff. So TLDR, all of that. Games are more expensive to make. The price of games hasn't massively increased. And I don't think they should, because I would love everyone. It's a cost of living crisis, right? I don't want the cost of games to massively increase for consumers. That's definitely not the case. And there's just a lot more competition. So that all compounded, and team bloat, that all compounds into problems, basically. So yeah, that's the summary of all of what I've just said there. Sorry if that was too long-winded, but there's other company founders in the chat, so I'm sure other people will have feelings on that. Maybe I've forgotten or missed something important. But yeah, feel free to comment. Aubrey says, I remember you guys saying when I first met you that Xbox Game Pass is like the golden ticket, but how does it work in terms of once the game has been released, since they're technically only funding the development of the first game? I think Game Pass has changed quite a bit. It used to be basically they'll pay for your, I guess they'll fund your entire game, and that's amazing, really. Like, what more could you want? I don't know what Game Pass deals look like anymore. I think the landscape on that has changed quite a bit, but I haven't had any recent conversations with them, so I don't know what deals people are doing right now, and if Game Pass is still lucrative or not. One of the things about Game Pass is obviously thousands and thousands of players will get their eyes on your game, and if that's what's important to you, which it should be, then obviously it's a good deal. I guess there is pros and cons to Game Pass. I suppose having sort of the Netflix of games means that people are less willing to give your game a chance. I know that when I play Game Pass, if I don't like the game right away, because I haven't invested any money in it, then I'll be like, okay, this isn't for me, and move on to the next game very quickly. So I think people are a bit less forgiving and more willing to move on when they have Game Pass. But that's more from a player perspective than a developer one. I think as well that if you have a Game Pass game and you have DLC, paid DLC, then you'll have tons of eyes on your game. And if people love your game, they'll buy the DLC. So that's a good reason to be on Game Pass if you have like DLC like that.
Yeah, I think there's like pros and cons to it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pros are for the consumer is most of the time they're getting really good value, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, I just paid a subscription, I get this game, I'm not having to pay full price.
Mm-hmm.
And the other pros is like for the company is like, oh yeah, your games on Game Pass will help fund.
You also get a lot of advertising from that as well. You get a lot of featuring,
Yeah.
which is good.
But I think one of the cons is the sheer like value of it is it has tainted people's view of games in general. I'm now like I'm one included. Like I now just don't even look at a full price game. I'm like, oh, I'll just probably pick that up.
Especially when money's tight, games are a luxury at the end of the day, which is a shame that they're not as accessible. But that's what Game Pass does, I suppose. Like, yeah, there's pros and cons to it. I mean, there was this whole argument around Netflix as well, and you could have a huge discussion about that, like whether that devalues film and TV, and people used to pay to go to the cinema, and people used to buy Blu-rays and stuff like that. It's same conversation basically. So yeah, I'm willing to pay for a really good game full price if I feel I want to support the developer as a developer. Like that makes sense. So I would always do that if I really love the game, and I guess getting value for money is important. So
I mean, I've done it with free to play games. I'm like, oh, like this is giving me so much like entertainment for free. I'll just buy something, even if it's not a lot. It's still given to the developers. But with like Game Pass and all that, I feel like a lot of gamers now are just like trying to get as much value as they can with their money, which is understandable because it's like some gamers might not have a whole lot of money to start off with. So they obviously want a good value. I mean, when I was younger, I remember playing, like, say, Burnout Paradise City, because it was the only game that I had on PS3 at the time, and I played that for like 400 hours.
Oh yeah, like you totally valued the games that you
Yeah,
bought a lot more for sure.
Yeah.
So, Jared says, platform holders are taking way too much right now for what they're offering. Yeah, they do take a large cut. Oh no, I've yeeted myself into the sea. Oops. From what I've heard, nowhere near as many Game Pass deals are being signed. Yeah, that's what I heard on the grapevine. But
Yeah,
who knows?
I've heard some rumors that Game Pass is a lot different to what it first was. So, but like I say, those are rumors and no concrete evidence behind it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've been involved in those discussions lately, as of late. But yeah, those are some very interesting questions. Thanks for asking. Yeah, there's obviously a lot to say around all of this.
I definitely have to agree with that comment that Aubrey's just put in.
Oh yeah, I think that's why people have such fond memories of the most janky random games from when they were younger, because you just played what you had rather than the massive picky selection of today. That is very true. Also, does anyone remember Blockbuster? Because we used to go and rent games. Like, that's not a thing anymore, is it really? You don't rent games anymore? Like,
One or two Blockbusters somewhere in the world. It doesn't really exist.
So good.
anymore.
That was such a good memory. Blockbuster was just before my time. Oh my god, I'm outed as being old. But yeah, I loved going to the game shop, renting games. Although it was very sad if you like wanted to complete the game and you had to give it back, because obviously with Nintendo games, like the saved file is on the cartridge, and so we'd take it back and then hope my save file was still there the next time we rented it. So stuff like that. Oh my god, yeah, you just had so much value. What's the kind of jankiest weird game that you've played? That then, Daniel, do you have one on those lines?
Too many.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
But that you're fond of.
The worst that I'm fond of. I want to probably say. Ooh.
I've got one while you're thinking. So.
Yeah, I might need a moment.
Yeah,
I
so
have a big library of games.
I don't really remember this game very well, but my mum had a Sega Mega Drive, and there was do you know The Page Master? It's a film. There was a Sega Mega Drive game of The Page Master, and it was like a platformer, because all games were platformers back then on the Sega. And there was like this line in it where it'd say like, "I've forgotten my library card," and that just became like a meme in my house before memes existed, where we'd just say that all the time. But yeah, it was Nails, I think, as well. We had the line. Oh, actually, that reminds me. Sega Mega Drive, Marsupilami. There was a game, Marsupilami game. That was really good. I'm trying to think like why it was janky, but I just remember there being some really weird sort of things, because he has a really long tail and there's like platforming elements related to his tail, and oh my god, just remind me of like those old school games where you'd play hours like doing the first few levels. But yeah,
I mean, and you did if you were me and just never had a memory card as well.
Yeah.
So it was like you were playing at the beginning of that game.
I mean, games didn't have memory cards back in the olden times. But yeah, there's another question, so I'll read that out, and then Daniel can come to your game if you think of one. So Zayad again says, what would you say is the best way for someone in their mid-30s, me unfortunately, who has over 10 years experience in another industry, break into the game industry, either as an employee or a studio founder? I have helped a few people do this. Basically, I used to be part of lots of different mentoring schemes. So there's Limit Break, and there was Into Games, and there was a bunch of other ones that I volunteered my time for. And a lot of the people that I got were basically exactly in the same position as you. It is harder now because of the layoffs, and it is more difficult to get a role in the industry for everybody, even people who are experienced right now. So maybe the timing isn't amazing, but it's also not impossible. It's not impossible to do. So I think one of the things is, obviously, it depends on what role you're aiming for and what skill set that you currently have. There is a lot of sort of skill sets that are transferable in games. For example, if you're a project manager, then you would be well suited to production, for example. So it depends what you're currently doing and whether or not those skills are transferable. And it's about making sure in your CV you are very directly relating your current experience to what you would be doing in games. And also one of the things that's incredibly valuable to gain knowledge of what is actually required is just to speak to as many industry people as possible. And just, I don't know why I wasn't paying attention then. So yeah.
Really jump in on this. Age shouldn't be a factor. I mean, I was past 30 when I joined Silent Games, and I've been in many other industries like before games. So
well, that's good for you to answer then, because you've just done it recently, and you also did a lot of different things. So you were doing sort of like beta testing, you were part of roleplay servers, you were doing it'd be good to talk about that. And then also, as a game producer, I have over 5 years experience as a project manager. Okay, I have helped people do exactly that, go from project management to game production. So we will talk about that once Daniel's kind of talked about his experience.
I mean, like age is definitely not a factor. Like you're like, oh no, mid-30s, unfortunately, and I'm like, like I've got a story about. Oh, sorry, I just caught a sunfish and it just.
I caught a hammerhead shark earlier, but you were saying something really interesting, so I didn't want to interrupt. I just left it on screen for a bit, like, look at my hammerhead shark. But
so I've got a story about Apex Legends, actually. I'm pretty sure it's Apex Legends. They hired a QA tester who was 50 odd. So age is definitely not a factor when you think about joining a game.
I just caught a large tuna.
Like this guy was working like 20 plus years in one industry and just went, you know what, I'm gonna just be a game tester. And he was 50 odd, and now he's a QA for Apex Legends. So there's like.
And you did the same at 30 plus as well. So I mean, those 30 and 50, it's not even that old. Like I know that I feel like people on the internet are like, oh my God, 30, you're stuck in your career, and it's completely not the case at all. You can make a career change. It's very difficult for games at the moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not easy for people who are experienced right now, but it's also not impossible. In terms of game production, so the couple of people that I helped make that transition, it's like I say, getting to know what the game industry requires. There's a lot of very specific game industry terminology that is quite hard to know exactly what it refers to unless you're actually in it. So I do have a couple of blog posts specifically on those things, like what does alpha mean, what does beta mean, what does gold, what does candidate master mean, in all of the context of the game industry. So you have to obviously know those terms, and when you're in interviews and stuff, you'll need to talk about how to manage games. It's good to get to grips with, production management software like Jira is a very common one that's used. People have a love-hate relationship with Jira, but that's, I like Jira. I'm a Jira defender. We talked about this last time. So yeah, there's obviously lots of things that you need to do that are game industry specific. And I think that will help you just to show your knowledge of the game industry. Yeah, David says changing knowledge careers is not usually a big deal when it comes to age. It's not like being a prize fighter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like, sorry, I was getting like super distracted because
Jared's upset about Jira again. I'm going to defend Jira until I perish, let me tell you. Unless they do something I really hate. But
if you got like transferable skills, like I had a little background in quality control for when I was working at Audi. I did a bit of quality control. So then you kind of got like a checklist of like how things should be and like make sure it hits that list. So like that was a transferable skill for me to get into QA, because it's now like I know what the game should be doing and I need to hit that checklist to make sure it is doing that. So like that's a transferable skill. But you can also just pick up skills just in like your spare time, as you said before. Sorry, I can't even speak. As you said before, Sally, which is like I was involved in a lot of beta testers.
Oh, you're a bit quiet. Let me see if I can sort that out for you, because you're saying important stuff. Sorry, you'll be able to see the turn up the user volume. Maybe that'll. Is that better? Wait, let me close that panel
I'm
down.
wondering if it's like I'm slowly just backing away from a microphone.
Is that better? Everybody on stream, can you hear Daniel better?
Is that better? Yeah. Sorry about that. So what I'm saying is like,
yeah, that's better.
like
Cool.
you can get involved with like beta testers and like insider programs. I spent 3-4 months on the Crew Motorfest insider program reporting loads of bugs. I got involved with quite a few like communities as well. One which was roleplay communities, which they let me get behind the scenes and start modding games and understanding how games work and how certain things are done. So that was just all in my spare time. So you can just spend a bit of time in your spare time just chasing up these like skills. It's not like that difficult to get hold of. You don't need to go to university, I don't think.
I did a blog post on that as well because it was a big topic of discussion. And yeah, unless you need a visa. I mean, uni's expensive now. I was in the, the part where it was like £3,000 a year, and now it's like nearly £10,000 a year. I was like, nah, I won't be doing uni right now, I tell you, because I am paying £10,000. Yeah, 3,000. So I think it was in my era, it was £3,000 a year. And then I think it went up to like maybe 6,000, 7,000, and then it went up to 9,000. So I paid off my student loan. So I'm sorry to everyone in the chat that probably hasn't. That's probably absolutely disgusting that I've paid off a student loan. But also, I didn't take any maintenance loan because I worked at McDonald's. So I worked at McDonald's evenings and weekends. Basically, I never had a rest ever. I was too scared of loans. That was such a lot of money to me. I couldn't even fathom how much money that was. I didn't take any maintenance because I was too scared. And so I just worked at McDonald's doing 12-hour shifts cleaning McDonald's toilets instead. Do you want to know how I got into the game industry? Because it'll probably upset people. Basically, I hadn't even finished my degree yet. The first job I applied for was at Ubisoft, and I got the job. The end. The end. It was for a tester on Just Dance, and I played a lot of Just Dance. In the interview, I had to dance to Rihanna's Disturbia. I did also, like Daniel, however, do testing, like beta testing. I used to go to Team 17. They were the only studio. And so I'm from Bradford, right? There's nothing there. There's no game stuff in there or around there, apart from Team 17 at the time. We were like in Ossett, which was this weird little town. Sorry to anyone if they're from Ossett. I'm from Bradford and it's not good, so I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, so I used to go there and test like some of their Worms stuff, and I was able to put that on my CV, and I think that's what got me the interview at Ubisoft. So thumbs up. Yeah, I had to dance in my interview, which actually I think I knew it was for Just Dance, but I didn't quite expect them to get me to dance. So they put me like in this little room and they were like, here's the game. This is the Rihanna song that we've got in the game right now. Play it and tell us what's broken and write some example bugs. So I did that. And then I think it took about 2 or 3 months to hear back from Ubisoft. So I assumed I hadn't got the job. And also I applied before I finished my degree. So I was like, I'm not going to apply for anything else. I just applied for that because it seemed like a really good fit. Anyway, yeah, I did get the job and I started before I even graduated. I had to go home for my graduation. So that was cool. So yeah, and I worked crazy hours on that project, like 100 hours, 100 hours a week to get it out for Christmas. But I had a good time. I really like working on Just Dance. Oh, we had a lot of camaraderie in QA. I think I mentioned this last time. I had like a little box under my desk that I used to sleep in. I think there's a picture of me and another tester like sat in our little boxes, like somewhere floating on the internet. But yeah, it was good fun. I enjoyed working on Just Dance. But yeah, thanks so much everybody for all the questions. We've had loads of really interesting stuff.
We certainly have, yes.
So that was good. It's very thought-provoking. Shall we have a look at my little question list? Oh, you were going to talk about... You were going to talk... Yeah, I've got my question list, but you were going to talk about any janky games that you played. Have you thought of one?
Oh yeah, I had a thought. It's a lot more of a recent game, which I will say is Fallout 76, and my God, that
Didn't
was
everyone hate that when it came out? Like, wasn't that just
me included,
fully broken? Yeah.
me
I guess
included.
it's like
But I still
Cyberpunk
played
too.
it.
Like Cyberpunk was the same, you know. I can't play
Oh,
janky games. No,
oh,
it
actually,
annoys me too
yeah,
much.
Cyberpunk's a really good example. Oh, yeah. See, I was thinking of like, because for me, Cyberpunk wasn't that broken, whereas I seen for other people, it was just beyond
I think
playable.
when I played it, right, there was like an emotional cutscene at the beginning, and the guy supposed to be like holding a gun or have a gun holstered. I
Oh,
can't
you
remember.
pulls the gun out.
Yeah, but the gun was just like floating in midair in this really like emotional scene. I was like, this, I can't, I can't right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had that bug,
So
but
I gave up on it for
like
forever.
there was some funny bugs like that, but like I think Fallout 76 is probably like worse than Cyberpunk. It still is actually extremely bad. One of my good friends in America, he's just got into it and he's coming across some like quest blocker bugs that have been in since day one, and I'm like, it's absolutely insane that a quest blocker bug like that is still in a game where you have to then just delete your save and start
Oh
again.
my god, no, I'd
And
rage quit. I'd rage quit, honestly, anything
yeah,
like that.
and
Maybe that's why you're in
there's
QA, because you have a lot of patience for that stuff that I
well,
do not have anymore.
there's that, but it was also like one of the games where I thought, you know what, if this is the state of games, I know I can like bring a better quality out than this, because this is
There's
absolutely
so many reasons that
diabolical.
happens. If anyone's interested, we can go into that as well. But Jared says that's one thing I've never had context for, actually. Never touched AAA, only heard stuff secondhand. What's the biggest difference for you between AAA and AA and indie? I get asked this all the time, and it's a bit of a difficult question because there's differences between studios and then there's differences between industries. I feel like in AAA there is a lot of bloat and there's a lot of waste. In AAA, I actually found it less stressful because basically I don't want to say you're a cog in a machine because I took a lot of pride in my work and I had a lot of interactions with the players, and it was very important. Oh, fell down this thing. It was very important what I was doing was high quality. So I wouldn't say that it's that. It's more that there's always multiples of you. So like if I go on holiday, there's another producer to cover me. That's not the case in a small indie team. If I go on, I haven't had a proper holiday in 5 years, right? Because there's no one to cover me when you run the company. That's a downside of running an indie company. You can't just swan off on holiday. You have to be responsible for everyone. And it's not that I don't trust people. It's just I care very much about the quality of the work that we put out and my own work. I'm let people be very autonomous, but for me, I've got a lot that I like to do. So where was I going with this? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, that's it. So, like, yeah, in AAA, there's a lot more. I guess I had much bigger teams. So I think I had like a team of 50 on the division by the end. And Silent Games is being at like maximum like 19 people. But I do think running your own studio is a lot more stressful than just being part of a massive studio. So that's one aspect of it. I guess one of the positives of AAA is like more people. There's a lot of clout and it still matters. So when you're looking for investment, having the fact that you've worked on a lot of AAA games does matter to investors. It's something that if they haven't heard of all the games that you've worked on, it does seem to have a negative impact. So that's another plus. I guess as well, just saying, oh, I've worked on this game and people know what it is. That's a nice feeling. And it's not that indie games can't do that. It's just sometimes in indie you'll work on games that have a more niche market. So, there's that. So yeah, I guess those are the main differences. In terms of the way that I do production in AAA, because there was so many people working on a project, the production had to be a lot more stringent. At Silent Games, I'm a lot more relaxed about how I do things. I'm less on people's case about certain things, just because there's not tons and tons of dependencies of hundreds of people. So there's just less of a requirement for me to do that. And also, like, I know the team very well and they understand my production processes and there's all that involved as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I can't really comment because I never worked in AAA. It's quite surprising to hear that it was less stressful. I thought it would have been the opposite. Like I've never been like like more relaxed in a workplace until I came here. So that's like
That's
really
good.
interesting to hear. Like for you
Mm-hmm.
that AAA was less stressful, but there is a big difference. You are running a company
That's
and
what I was going to
producing.
say, to be fair.
Yeah.
That does make it a bit, it's not a one-to-one comparison. Although I do kind of have a one-to-one comparison because I was a producer in AAA and I was also a producer in both publishing and an indie studio. So I think within the indie studio, I had a lot more responsibility because I was a senior producer, but I had more control over what was happening. So if things were going wrong, I had more power to fix it than I did in AAA. So I think that's probably why I find it less stressful. I found that less stressful, but when you're running your own studio, that's more stressful. So yeah, yeah, there is downsides to AAA. Like I say, you have to go with what's there. You can't make big changes. I actually found that's probably the thing I found most frustrating about AAA is how slow everything is. Like if I see something wrong, I want to immediately change it and I want to immediately fix it. And I have the power to do that now. So that's good. Oh, thank you for the follow, Johnny boy. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So yeah, like that's another difference. Like you just have less power in AAA, and that's probably because of where I was in my career at the time as well. But I do think there's just a lot of people that have to approve things, and everything's very slow, and that used to really annoy me because I think there was places where it didn't need to be that slow to get stuff done. Also, I found another difference. I keep thinking of new ones between AAA and indie. There was more people in AAA who didn't care about games, and I just found that annoying. Like a lot of the people in management in AAA just were not gamers. They were not tuned into what I felt like the market wanted because they didn't play games
Yeah.
and they weren't involved in
I
those
hear that a
communities.
lot myself as well. Like, I hear just like a lot of like management just aren't really there for the game. They're just there for the paycheck, really.
I mean, games is not well paid, so I don't know. I've always wondered why, because you could get paid better elsewhere. So if you're not bothered about games and you don't play games, why would you be in upper management at somewhere like Ubisoft? I don't know why you would do that.
That is an interesting question.
Yeah, we
That
kind
is a
of
very
we
interesting one that's
briefly
just came up.
covered this earlier, but it's do you think AAA is generally more stable as a business compared to indie and AA? Historically, yes. I think even now with all of the layoffs, potentially yes. I've just yeeted myself into the water again. Just they just have a lot more financial backing. They have more safeguards in place for things when they're going wrong. They just have more wiggle room. They have incoming revenue from multiple sources. And, you know, I think it's probably still the case that AAA is more stable than indie for
I
most cases. Even
I would
though
probably
AAA has
agree.
been unstabilized for the past couple of years, it's still. I know entire indie studios that have shut down. So yeah, I
I
think
mean,
yeah.
there's been some indie studios that even produce like a great game and still shut down.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a case where it's like when you got like a AAA studio, you're talking like they've got a big company that's just got a lot of like financial backing in case anything does go wrong. At least so it can stay afloat
Yep.
for a bit longer. Whereas indie, it could be like such a tight rope.
It can be like
So
a couple of months before you're done. So yeah, there's that. But AAA is struggling right now for all the reasons I said. There's like a disconnect between what players want and what they're producing, and games are very expensive, and people are like, that needs to be the value there for me to invest in this AAA. And there are some companies who've just had invested multi-millions into projects that people have hated. So, I mean, that could change in terms of the stability of things. I feel like hopefully I'm hoping the industry will stabilize over the next couple of years. I'm hopeful that we're out of the worst of it in terms of layoffs and things. They're still happening. They're still ongoing. There was news about some literally yesterday. But I would like to remain optimistic, please. Hopefully. But yeah. So many interesting questions. Thank you very much.
yeah,
is-
totally interesting ones.
Yeah.
There is
Oh, I could
Quite
talk all day
controversial
about.
ones, really. Just
I
a
mean,
little
it
bit.
could be more controversial, but that's good.
Yeah.
There's so much to say, honestly. Having been in the industry such a long time as well. Getting more worms.
Well, that's it. Like, you would have seen a lot more over the years than what I have. So, like, I see things with fresh eyes. And
Fresh,
then
sparkly, yay, everything's great. I'm a noob. Well, I hope it's
Yeah.
great because you're at my company. So if it wasn't, then I'd be very disappointed in myself.
Sorry, Sally. I've got something to tell you after this.
No. I like to think that at Silent Games we're very honest with each other, and people will say things to you in my face and they do not hold back. So I'd like to think that that is one of the principles that I wanted at Silent Games. I'm not easily offended, so people are brutally honest with me about how they feel about things. So, but that's fine. David says the entertainment industry is always less stable than others, but I'm optimistic. Yeah, totally agree with that. I mean, creative endeavors are difficult. They're always difficult, but very, very worthwhile. Even though there's I can't imagine myself working in any other industry. This is what I've worked towards my entire life. And I'm passionate about games. I'm passionate about players. So I will weather any storm. I am extremely determined. So, yeah. I will stay in games, come what may. I've recently seen Double Fine's Psycho Odyssey documentary, and it really opened my eyes towards what it's like being in the industry. I haven't seen that myself, but that sounds interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. I have watched a few gaming documentaries, like industry documentaries, but it's been a while. I think the last one I watched was about the ins and outs of Disco Elysium's like corporate management structure, which it's quite dramatic. I don't know if anyone's seen that one. But yeah, that was quite interesting. Because I'm just nosy about everyone else's drama. That's what it is in reality.
I don't think I've actually watched many like documentaries. I don't tend to even like watch many like dev updates and stuff, but there's some which is quite interesting. I think like I always like knowing what's going on, say like behind Bungie, because like
I leveled up. Yay!
Ooh.
Sorry, interact. Rank 9.
Yeah, like I was quite interested with Bungie because last year they released what was it, Lightfall, which a lot of people did not like, but there was like a lot of dev updates after that, like saying how good Lightfall was, and then all of a sudden like they fired the whole team of writers because Lightfall wasn't what players were expecting.
Oh, that's a shame.
So then they like, kept quiet on the dev updates for a long time. And
I feel like if people didn't like stuff about our game, you've got to have a dialogue. I wouldn't want to just disappear. I'd like, because players will have feedback for you, and that's how you get better. And your first game is going to have imperfections. That's just any piece of art that you create for the first time, or anything that you do on your own for the first time, any book that you write, any music that you create is going to need feedback. And we've already been through lots of rounds of playtesting on our current game, so that was very, very helpful. And now the game's been like well rated, so that makes me feel happy. But also there's always things that you learn from making your first game. I got an eel, a large eel. It's good. Well, so yeah, I think it's always good to have player feedback and have that open dialogue, even if things have not gone to plan. I'd rather do that than stop communicating, because that doesn't help you improve or do anything really. But companies obviously work very differently in the way that they invest their time in things like that, I suppose. I'll give that a watch. Love a good game dev doc. Yeah. No Clip has pretty good documentaries as well. I found Player 2 productions work more immersive, especially with Double Fine. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to give those a watch. Indeed. Have you got any good fish?
I caught a sunfish that was, I'm not joking, actually took up my whole screen. There was no space on my screen. I'll have to find it. And I got a shining Man O' War as well.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't know what makes
why
it
are you
shiny.
getting all the good fish? Why am I getting all the? I'm just getting blooming salmon.
I just got a small octopus just there as well.
Oh, I think I caught an octopus last time, which was very good. Jared says, I can't imagine what it's going to feel like when we release our first game. That's the high I'm chasing. Very excited for you to announce the thing. Yes, it is very, very exciting. I'm excited and scared. But
Oh yeah.
it's going to be
yeah,
good.
it's
I'm looking
coming
forward to it.
soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I feel like obviously people can be shitty about it as well. Like I the thing that always made me laugh when I was reading comments about The Division was like, I bet the developers don't even read this, and I was just there reading it like, lol. I'm reading it, you're hurting my feelings, but also thank you for bothering to give me any feedback at all. You know what I mean? So I think anything that's constructive is good. And if not, I mean, just it's good to know, innit, if people don't like it. That's interesting. That's information. You've got to have a thick skin when you're putting stuff like that, when you're putting your heart and soul in a box in the form of a game and then shipping
Don't
it
tell
out
me
to the
that.
world.
I'm going to end up just go to the bathroom and cry as soon as I see anything.
You have to have a thick skin, which I do now. I mean, I used to get featured in Ubisoft videos and people were gnarly, you know, like a lot of comments about my appearance, of which that's just how I look. Sorry if you don't like it. It's not to do with me. It's just how I am. And stuff that's not relevant. So stuff like that, who cares? You know what I mean? That's not what is important in life. So if they've got feedback on the game, that's what I care about. I'll listen to that. I feel like there's some good fish on this pier. You seem to be spending a lot of time there, so that's where. Oh, I've got no bait again. Keep just doing my little fishing and then not having any bait, and I have to reel this in. What's that?
It's my screen blocker.
What the heck is that?
It's my sunfish that I caught.
Oh my god. Can you just like show it? Oh, showing off. Okay, whatever. I'm going. How rude.
I can barely walk with it.
I'm off. Goodbye. I can't imagine. Oh, wait, I've read that one. Our genre is full of trash talking. We're already getting. Oh no. I'm sorry. It's difficult, but it's necessary in a way.
Why did you not tell me this before I joined? Now I'm gonna cry in the
No,
bathroom
you'll
like, all the
be
time.
you'll be right. You'll be right. You get used to it.
They'll be like, oh no, did they even have a QA on this? And then I'll just be in the corner like, wow, I'm doing my best.
Maybe I'll bear the brunt of anything because my face is out there and I'm the CEO. But I'm not worried. We've really done our best to make an amazing game and lots of content and good value. So I'm sure it'll resonate with players.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I think.
Oh yay!
I think some people like
Thank
actually
you.
get onto that. They're going to be in for an exciting time.
I think so. So yeah, thank you very much for the new follow. Totally not noble. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you've got some new followers from the stream. It's always appreciated. We will be able to talk about the game at some point. So if people are interested in that, then definitely stick around. We keep kind of talking about it, but not talking about it at the same time. So we will at some point. Jared says we've done work for clients where things have been a problem in the end product and players complain, and 9 times out of 10 it's a budget thing, and that always sucks. Yeah, it definitely does. I think players. Oh, no, why have I done this? I think players are more savvy than people give them credit for, though. They understand when an indie team has made something and when a AAA team has made something. Like, they understand the differences and the complexities, I think. I like to have faith in players.
I mean, sometimes yes, but not all.
Oh, you'll get the odd kid who will be like rude, but it's just
No. You'll get the odd game where they just don't understand it at all.
Oh, right, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the comments or something.
No, you'll get like an odd game. Say like it'll be a AAA game, and then you'll get a AA game, and then the AA game will get compared to a AAA game and be like, why is it not as good as
Yeah,
the
I
said
understand what you
game?
mean. I understand what you mean, but hopefully people know the difference. Just gotta make a good game. That's all you have to do. Say it like that's the easiest thing in the world.
It's just that easy.
Yeah. I hope they don't see ours and think we're AAA because we're funded with loose change. Yeah. I found your funding down back at Couch. I caught some drink rings. Got some
What the hell's
trash.
that?
So it's like trash.
Oh.
Rubbish. I keep picking up Americanisms and I'm like, where's that come from? Is this the whole map? I don't feel like I've explored anywhere beyond what's here. I'm just going to my little areas where
I
I'm
think
safe.
there is more to this. I just don't understand how, because
Yeah.
I've been so distracted by reading chat and like answering questions that I'm not going out actually playing the game. I'm just capturing fish because that's all I've got.
I think
at the minute.
that is the game, so I think we're good. But yeah, if anyone's got any more questions, feel free to ask away. Thanks so much for all the questions that we've got so far. For anyone that's just joined us, so my name's Sally. I run a game studio. I'm the CEO. We've got Daniel here, who is new to the game industry, joined us about a year and a half ago, works as QA for Silent Games, and I've been in the industry for 13-ish years. So yeah, we've been talking about kind of how the industry's changed, what the differences are between AA and AAA, various bits of advice for getting into the game industry later in life, and just a bunch of other things as well. So feel free to ask questions in the chat if you've got anything you want to know about the game industry. Oh, that's
What's
a nice
the best
question.
thing of working at Silent Games? Oh, can I put it best? There's too many good things that I struggle to actually put a best.
That's nice. Don't make me cry. I tell you,
yeah, I'm going to make you go to the bathroom and cry.
I know.
Now.
I've been up since blooming. So I was really sick in the night. So I'm tired and emotional.
I heard you were up at like 5 a.m. telling my girl that you were sick.
I'm a whinger. I'm sorry to tell everybody I'm a whinger. I was whinging on Twitter about it. Anyway, sorry, I've interrupted you. That's the worst thing about Silent Games. I constantly interrupt everybody.
Yeah, you get chaotic Sally at 3 p.m. That's the worst thing.
No,
it's not.
No.
I think one of the best things is just the whole studio life in general. Like I'm coming, like I wake up in the morning, I'm getting ready, I'm going into work, and I've not yet had a day where I'm just like, oh Christ's sake, I wish I wasn't going in. I'm sitting on my train smiling, like, yeah, I can't wait to get in, like get stuff done.
That's so nice. I actually will cry.
I can't go too much. Like I could go on for longer, but we'll lose our main host of the show.
That is so wholesome. Honestly, when you create a studio, obviously I think about the players a lot, but I think about all of you guys as well, and just making sure that you're having a good time making a game. And it's not always that way. Making games is hard. There's challenges. It's not always easy, but everything worth doing is difficult. So, but I try and make it easy for everybody with everything that I do. So that's nice. I'm glad.
Yeah, it's just a great workplace to be in. And I've had my fair share of workplaces.
That's good. That's good. I always found small indie studios work more harmoniously towards the goal. Yeah, I think it's links back to kind of some of the things I said earlier, where people have more control over their own stuff. You can have more face-to-face conversations. You just get to know each other better. There's a level of trust there with decisions and with people. So I do think with indie studios there is a sense of more harmonious working. Oh, we have arguments though. We'll have arguments about what's best for the game and what isn't.
I still haven't got my ice cream from the last one.
What was that?
I was saying I still haven't got my ice cream from the last argument.
Oh, R.I.P. But yeah, that's the thing that happens. But I think I think it's worse when people are silently annoyed with each other, and then not having those conversations where there are arguments. Like that's just worse. You're not getting things off your chest. You're not being honest with each other. I feel like it's better. We have historic arguments that we refer to as memes. Yes, that is true. David says, as a player, the main thing I like about indie games is the focus on the product. Yeah, 100%. That is another thing about AAA. They do get caught up in many other things. Like a lot of the time, it's return on investment, which is obviously important for sustainability of the studio. But things like I don't like microtransactions, for example. I don't like all of these endless additions of things. I'm not, the people. It's too easy to lose focus when you've got all of these things. in AAA that's you
Loot boxes. That's all I'll
Ugh.
say.
Don't even get me started on that stuff. The games that are always more focused on a few ideas, AAA games get bloated with too many ideas. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I do think that Ubisoft games struggled with this is that they will add more and more and more features, but because the game is so huge, they do not have synergies between the features. So it will be things that feel disconnected and not part of the whole. So like, here's a bunch of 100 random collectibles. Some people love that, but for me, I prefer when all of the systems are more integrated and work holistically together rather than stuff like that. So yeah, there'll be more to say about that on our game when we get to it and why we've made certain things the way they are. But yeah, in AAA, that's certainly, it's because the challenges of working with many, many different people. But yeah, there's also not always one cohesive vision sometimes, which is a problem. Yeah. Totally Not Noble says, it's like with a smaller team compared to a AAA team. Everyone kind of knows everyone, so it's a lot easier to talk to others you're working with. Yeah, Ubisoft games play like a list of features. Exactly that. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I left, you know? Like, there's obviously some Ubisoft games that are excellent. And there's a lot of very talented and creative people there, but yeah, I don't like the whole feature list sort of thing.
My thing
becomes formulaic.
My thing when it comes to AAA games is I feel like they play it too safe.
I haven't got any.
They play like they'll make a game, it'll do great, and then they'll make another game, and it'll be like, right, this game done really well. We'll make it the same, but then just add a couple of new features here and there to make it feel like it's different. But when you break down the game, it's still the same game, really.
It's formulaic, and there's companies that do that well. So I keep talking about Metaphor Fantasio. I'm sorry, but I feel like Persona, the games are always sort of the same in a way, but I feel like they're honing their craft. It feels different, whereas some other companies will create a game and do the sequel, and like you say, they'll just bolt on some extra stuff, but I don't feel like they've made strides in their overall game design or their storytelling, whereas I feel like Metaphor is a culmination of all of those years of working on Persona and working on different gameplay systems and that kind of thing. So I feel like there's times where that is done well, and there's times where it isn't done well. Yeah. I only really buy indie and AAA now. I spent the past 10 years working in corporate environments, and I could see how they demoralize teams in general, which is why I've always preferred working with smaller indie teams. Honestly, I'm not a very corporate person at all. Like that is one thing that is a little hard for me, because I think in games it's still casual, but there are still times where I've been in sort of, I guess, business development environments, and I don't match that energy. And I can try to do that, but the way that I speak is very informal. I mean, like, my desk is pink. Everything is pink. I'm wearing my pink hoodie. I don't know. There's just something like where I don't know. I'm not very corpo or formal. Never really have been. So I see what you mean. I couldn't be in like a stuffy sort of environment like that. I also think it's all platitudes and you can't speak your mind, which would bother me to no end. So there's that too. Motorhead recorded the same album 20 times. There's a virtue in that, for sure.
I mean, there is.
There's times where it's a good thing. That is true.
There is, but like when I like mention games, poor Ubisoft, because we keep bringing that up. But I find that like a lot of Ubisoft open world games is just Far Cry 3, but in a different setting. That's all I see those games as. Apart from the Division, when they released the Division, I was like, this is different. But if you look at games from like Far Cry 3 right up to Star Wars Outlaws, to me it just feels like it's the same game, where they're just playing it safe because they know they'll get the sales, but they won't, do anything super creative or dangerous because they don't want to hurt those sales.
Yeah, I can see why that is done, but I also think it's boring.
Yeah, I think they just got a bit too complacent. Like a lot of AAA are just complacent with their ideas, and they're like, "We got a winning formula. We'll just keep doing this winning formula." And it's not just video games this happens in. I feel this in like a lot of movies as well. Like there's a lot of movies where I watch it and it's like, yeah, you could put literally any other main character and it'll be the same movie, but just a different main character.
I am notorious for having not seen many films, which is bad. I read a lot of books and I play a lot of games, and I feel bad that I do not have. I did media studies when I was doing my A levels, so I feel bad that I haven't kept up with the film industry as much. But there's too much trash. There's too much that I've seen where I'm like, that was a big waste of time. So I went back to watching a lot of the classics that I'd missed, and I am just having a much better time with that than modern stuff. So
yeah. I'm watching like loads of like movies from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s at the minute.
Oh, there's some. Oh, you just think, I don't know how I missed so many back in the day, but I did. That's why Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is the best Far Cry game. Yeah. For Honor was one of the best recent Ubi games because they did something wildly different. I'm pretty sure that For Honor it had a central vision holder. I feel like I've forgotten the guy's name, but there was a guy who was right at the forefront of For Honor's design and vision. And I think that's important. I got a small walleye, but there's pros and cons to that as well. It's not always the way. With a company that size, you can't have one guy just approving all of the games, which is how it used to be. Oh god, that was 2016. Yeah, I don't want to be disparaging about Ubisoft because there's a lot of things they did really well, and there's a lot I learned from the company. So don't take it as that.
Oh yeah. You know, like there's some of my favorite games are Ubisoft games. Like I really enjoyed The Division.
That's good. Yay. That's good. You don't have to say that just because I worked on it, but yeah.
No. I put too many hours in The Division 1 and The Division 2.
I only worked on The Division 2 for a very, very brief period before I left and we started Silent Games, so yeah, I have no stake in that. Division slapped, got 400 hours on it.
Yeah, like with Division 1, like one of my favorite things in that game was the survival expansion that they put in.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just really made the game hardcore and a lot of fun, where it was just like, oh yeah, you're a group of 3 and you're in just basically a blizzard in New York fighting against other groups of 3 and trying to survive from
frostbite. So like,
and that was vastly different to what everything else was on offer by Ubisoft at the time.
Yeah,
and I thought that was fantastic.
The people, so Ubisoft Massive, the people at Ubisoft Massive were very, very talented. They were, really, really, really talented people. So I can see how it turned out like that. They were the lead studio. Reflections was like a co-dev studio. So I was at Reflections in Newcastle. So yeah, we did a bunch of different things for The Division. I love The Division, was great. Oh, wait, by about 2010, the entire movie industry got committed to save the cat formula. Indeed, alas. Yeah, that was the best. When I was writing screenplays, it was a real problem. Everything had to be one formula, might as well be AI. Yeah. That would explain that. I mean, like I say, I consume a lot less like movies than I do books and games, but that makes sense. It's any kind of approach that's formulaic is pretty much always bad. And it doesn't mean that you can't build on foundations of there's a middle ground, isn't there, between creating something entirely innovative to the point where it's not recognizable by anybody and it's of interest to nobody, and then creating something that's so familiar that it's also not interesting. With our game, we've tried to do something where people will look at it, they will understand what it is, but it has a combination of features and a narrative that's done differently so that it's still interesting. And that is a hard balance to get. And whether or not we've done it, we'll soon see, won't we? But I feel like there's something to be said for doing that, essentially. Yeah, same but different is the marketing key, yes. We tried to get in between this sweet spot of like the unicorn, which is just something completely different that just takes off and is very hard to replicate and something that you've seen 1,000 times before. I got a plastic bag. I keep getting rubbish. I still ranking up from collecting it though, so fair enough. Let's get more bait.
I mean, that's good rubbish then.
Yeah. Sold a lot of books with aliens meets Lovecraft. Yes. That sounds good.
I tell you.
Sounds stupid, but no, I immediately thought it sounded good. So that's totally fair. I wonder if the rain, it rains in the game. I wonder if that does anything. Like, do you catch different fish?
It just seems to be in the center only.
Yeah, because like in Animal Crossing, if you're collecting fish when it's raining, you get different fish. But it rains for such a brief time. I don't know if it's relevant. The best things are mashups of known features with some extra bits on top. Yeah. That's what we've tried to do. That's what we've tried. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the feedback we had of the game, wasn't it? Was there's so many different styles and like things going on, but it all just seems to work really well.
Good. That's what we're hoping. We'll see. We'll see. Like roguelikes in general, yeah. Indeed. So if we get some different fish from this rainy season.
I'd be intrigued if that is a mechanic. Then again, I haven't really looked at much of the mechanics of this game. I've just been running around catching big fish.
Yeah, someone just told me about it and said it's like a chill thing that you can sort of do while you're talking. So, and if we're answering kind of complicated questions, I didn't want to have like really action-packed gameplay where I've got to focus on both of the things that, the questions are very important, so. Also, I remembered to turn on VODs this time. So I'm very sorry to people who watched last time and wanted to share it, because I forgot that by default Twitch does not save VODs, and the only thing that we saved was that Jared, that clip that you made about me talking about Luke and the fecal position. That's the only thing that's on our Twitch right now, and I told him that this morning, and he was like, "Oh my god, Sally, why?"
That is the whole content of Silent Games right there. It's just that one clip.
Yeah, but now hopefully the VODs have worked. We'll see. I'm scared that I've done the wrong thing again, but we'll see.
I mean, this is the point that you were making earlier, was like, first time you make a game, you make mistakes, and then like you also learn from them. It's just the same as streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn to put VODs on so we actually, have a video.
Honestly, like I haven't done that many streams. Like I've done a couple of charity streams, and I run a maid cafe, which I've told people about. I've done a couple of streams there as well, but it's actually, I find this easy because I don't have to be in character. Like that's actually a lot of hard work to be in character. Also, I have to tone down my Yorkshire accent, but when I'm doing this, I don't have to. So that's worked out well for me. I can just have my natural voice on, not doing a fake one. Because by the end of the stream, it's just gone. So. Also, hello, Jared. We spoke at the portfolio review at Animex. I had the work. Oh, sorry. I had the work in progress Homelander. Oh, nice. Hello. It's nice that you've met each other. Yeah, we have a partnership with Teesside University, so we often send people to their events. So Expo Tees, Animex. So Jaren and Luke went. I usually go, but I think. What was I doing?
You were at Leamington Spa.
Yeah. So I was on a business trip, so I couldn't go. I think that may be a diff Jared. Probably is, because Jared's... Did you mean Jaren? Yeah, you probably meant Jaren.
Yeah, probably meant Jaren.
Yeah, I feel like Jaren's the only person in the world called Jaren, specifically. So everyone forgets his actual name. Yeah, Jaren is called. Yeah, a character artist. That's cool. He'll be happy you dropped in. Thanks for checking out the stream. No worries. Just a fake Jared. Jared's cool too. Jared runs a company called Binary Spiders, and they've helped us with a lot of stuff on our game. So yeah, he's a good lad as well. Catching fish. Dun, dun, dun.
So, as we were talking about like different media and games earlier, Has there been any game where it came from a different media and is been very successful that you played?
Do you know what? I very rarely play games that are from existing IPs, which I know is terrible. But let me think.
I've got a couple.
I
And I
mean,
think,
normally they're memes, aren't they? Like games that are made out of other IP. Just like they used to be notoriously bad, so I don't think I've seeked them out.
That's not always the case. A good couple of examples.
Well, Page Master, I said earlier, Page Master on the Sega Mega Drive, and Marsupilami, which I think was like a French cartoon or something. Those, like the Lion King Sega Mega Drive game.
Oh no, that's just torture.
Nails, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
That's just pure torture. That's not a game. That is a torture device.
That's how they used to make them back in the day. No, none of this save game malarkey. None of that. Start again from nothing. Alien Isolation was a banger. Admittedly, I didn't play that. Festus Quest. Should I know what that is? Because I don't. Please enlighten me to something that I have clearly missed.
I mean, Festus Quest, the first thing that comes to my mind is just Adam's Family, and I'm just thinking of Uncle Fester. I'm like, he's got his
is that it? Is that it?
I don't think so. I think that's just my imagination going wild.
That'd be good. Yeah, I don't really. It is Adam's Family. Oh my god! How did I not even know that? I'm gonna have to look that up.
You see, that's just where my imagination went.
You were right. That was good. Oh, it's an awful game. That's sad.
Oh, never mind.
Still, has everyone seen that? What is it? That Piglet game going round? Have you seen that? What's it called? Piglet's Big Adventure or something? And
I've seen so much just very concerning stuff to do with Winnie the Pooh. So I can only imagine what this is going to be.
So the game is like, I've only seen like little screenshots and things of it, but it's really like, obviously it's Piglet, so I'm assuming it's meant to be a kids game, but the whole atmosphere is very it's very horror-esque. It's got weird music, and he's like, the closer he is to death, the like faster he runs and stuff. It's just, it's weird, and I really want to play it. I do like horror games. I play a lot of horror games. It's been a while, but I played a lot of Japanese horror games. Like I think I mentioned this before, like Project Zero. In some places it's called Fatal Frame. Love those games. I just like to be scared. That is a good thing.
I certainly don't.
I don't play much VR anymore, but what's that one called where you go ghost hunting? Played that.
Oh, Phantasma.
Yeah, that one. Like, that was terrifying, but I really liked it.
For me,
it was horrifying.
For me, one of the first experiences of VR was Resident Evil 7.
Oh, yeah. I feel like horror is particularly good for VR.
That was just too much for me.
Yeah, I love that. I played another game where it's a Japanese horror game, and one person's got the VR headset on, and you're going around this kind of haunted house, and then the other players are on mobile phones, and they can set where all the traps are and stuff. And it's a little bit of a janky game, but I quite like that concept. It's quite a fun one. You can just make stuff happen in the game while the VR player's kind of going around. Oh, Phasmophobia is great. I couldn't play it in VR. I nearly threw up for motion sickness. I used to work in VR, and yeah, obviously in development games have issues with motion sickness, and I get migraines and stuff, so it was difficult. It was a tricky one for VR.
I would just stick with my, cozy games or like my action games and racing games.
Horror games.
No.
The girlies love the horror games. Resident Evil games used to give me nightmares back in the day. So I think it was one of the Resident Evils, or it might have been, was it Silent Hill? I don't remember, on Dreamcast. And I started the level, and obviously there's zombies in it. And my little brother was screaming the place down, and my mum made me turn it off. So I was not able to play that. And then our Dreamcast got stolen because it's Bradford, so it just got burgled all the time. And I spent so much time on Sonic Adventure 2 in like, you know, what they called like chows or cheos, them little
Yeah.
blue things.
But chows, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called. I don't know how you say it. But like I spent way too much time like doing that thing where there's like mini games and you can like breed them and like get different ones. And I was like, I spent too long on that. And then my little chow garden was gone. Devastated. See, that's the worst thing about it. Like, save data's gone. So, also, we couldn't afford to buy another one. So, it's sad. I don't even think the Dreamcast was ours. I think we borrowed it from someone. I think it was one of my brother's mates. So we were like, I'm so sorry, we'll have to get the insurance to pay you back. I think we just gave him 50 quid or something, I don't remember. But...
I just remember playing Silent Hill 3, I think it was, The Room. That was enough to scare me. And people were like, it's not even a scary game, but when I was younger, that was terrifying.
Do you know...
Silent Hill 3, The Room was really terrifying. That put me off horror games for life.
Now you mention it, like, we rented a game from Blockbuster, as we were talking about earlier, and it was called Splatterhouse. Has anyone seen Splatterhouse? That was on Sega Mega Drive, and that terrified me. It's the opening cutscene. Like, I think basically you're playing this guy, and his wife or his girlfriend's been like kidnapped or gone missing or something, and you have to go to the Splatterhouse to get her back. And it was just so creepy, it freaked me out. And then my dad was like, let's take it back, we'll get something else. So yeah, I didn't like that one. But yeah, there weren't that many scary games on the Mega Drive from what I recall. How scary can like pixelated games be?
Very, because you use your imagination to fill in the pixels.
That's true.
That's what happened to me.
Oh no. I used to get nightmares from the ending of Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they steamrolled Roger. Yes, I remember that part. I don't blame you for that one. That's fair enough. Shall we dig out another question from my list? Unless anyone else has got any, feel free. Like, honestly, don't worry about asking too many questions, by the way. That's what we're here for. Like, it's honestly fine.
Yeah, we're not actually here to play the game. We're here
to answer questions and chat about the industry. And also collect some little fish while we're at it, you know. But yeah, do you want to pick a number?
Well, I did 13. I did 9. So I think I'll go for 7. I'm just working through my birthday.
I keep spilling water on myself, and it's not a vibe. I've got a really, like, this. Okay, this cup is very cute. It's got Kuromi on it. Look. But it's very impractical. It's got like an inner chamber that's like, I don't know, it's not good for just drinking out. Anyway, what did you pick, sorry? While I'm spilling water down myself.
Oh no, just keep doing that, and then maybe I don't have to pick a number.
No, pick.
I picked number 7.
Okay, let's have a look. Have there been any, I mean, this is kind of a design question, so it's probably not relevant for you, but it says, have there been any compromises you regret making, or do you think they shaped the game in a better way?
There is one.
Is there? Go on.
There is one.
But is it an NDA one?
It's a specific block and volume.
I see.
Like I can't really talk about it on stream because
that's sad.
Can't. But there is a specific block and volume which was bugged up, and oh my god, hang on, I got 63 clicks. Oh yeah, I wasn't getting that.
I had one like that at the end of the last stream, and I was like, "There's no way I'm getting that fish." I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, you know.
Yeah, I got distracted.
I'm curious as to like what fish that is, but.
Yeah, but yeah. So a bug went in for this, and we talked about this in a review and what we can do about it. And then I just seen just recently in the bug where it's just like, this is not changing, it's staying there, and I'm like, oh,
R.I.P.
Okay.
I'm
like, I could do something about it, but yeah, it's staying.
Fair enough. In terms of like just regrets in general, I mean, how long have you got? To be honest, it's more for me. I don't see things as regrets. I see it as like I made a mistake or something went wrong and I wish I could have prevented it. But I did my best at the time. I always, basically, when I'm doing anything, I just try my best. Always. There's never something where I felt like I haven't worked hard enough at it, because I don't like feeling like I haven't put 100% of my effort in, you know? So there's decisions where I think I would have done things differently for sure. But I always know that I tried my best as well. And I think people can see that if you genuinely do that. Even if you mess up and make mistakes, which I constantly do. Yeah. I think when I've got a lot on my plate, I'm quite forgetful.
Yeah, if you like work in and you put something in and it was the best at that time, I mean, what more do you want? You know, that's
as long as you're
that just
open to
makes it
feedback.
genuine.
Yeah. Then I think that's the way forward.
And not run to the bathroom and cry as soon as people say it's probably the worst thing in the gaming history.
Yep, it's fine. It's like, yeah, thick skin, you gotta have it for running a company or doing anything. I think as well, like I think for some people, people talk about imposter syndrome and stuff like that. And I feel like there was a time where I had that kind of thing, but now I'm just like, I've worked really hard, so I don't want to feel like I don't deserve the things, if you know what I mean. I don't like thinking like that, so I try not to.
Yeah, I mean, with that question, there's not much I could really answer. There's probably just some things where I'm just like, oh yeah, they can be done better, but like, I can't really say anything. And on top of that, I've not shipped a game, so I definitely can't say that.
That is one thing. Like, once you finish a game, generally, well, some games do it, sometimes some games don't, but you'll have a post-mortem of everything. And, we've already started writing down things that we want to change for the next game, like in terms of systems, in terms of technology. And it's usually not like player-facing stuff. It's stuff like that makes our lives easier when we're actually developing the game. Like, that's the stuff we're focusing on right now, because all of the stuff for the player-facing stuff, we get from players. So we'll get, obviously, the player feedback, and we've done a lot of play testing and stuff. So there's obviously things that we do differently as well, like from a player's perspective when we're playing. But yeah, there's a lot of, obviously, like, I guess, technical stuff, pipeline-related stuff that we kind of talk about. Or next game we'll do it this way, or next game we'll do it that way. Because we're coming to the end of the project, so that's how those conversations start coming in. You start thinking about what you would do differently. We've got quests, Have you looked at any of your quests?
Oh yeah. I've been collecting them so far.
That's good. I haven't really put in any effort to do them. I suppose you can't. There's a vending machine as well, but I don't know what any of this does. Get an extreme sprinting bonus, catcher's luck. I mean, give those a try. I think
they just give you buffs, like little buffs. So
yeah, they do.
Catcher's luck is probably like you take that, and for a short amount of time, you're going to get better stuff.
That's basically it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna look at my list and I'm gonna pick an interesting one that I think's interesting. So, okay, there's a section that's called philosophical and personal. So, what role do you think games play in shaping culture and society, if any?
A huge amount.
I mean, I suppose I think people underestimate how big the game industry is. And also, one thing that really bothers me is the way the media talks about games, because they still talk about it like it's a joke, like it's a sort of meme. Whenever they're like, oh yeah, I remember Space Invaders, like on BBC News and stuff, and I've complained about that, and I think they're getting better at that, but I do still think they don't take it seriously. And obviously, there's part of games that is just silly fun. Like, that is a genre of games, but I think, obviously, there's a storytelling element to games. Like, there are games that are very artistic as well. And I don't think they get the credit they're due from, I guess, the mainstream.
Yeah, you got some games that just, like, totally change how you think about things.
Yeah, I would love it if our games did that. Like, that's such a big deal.
So, it's a bit of a shame because, like, obviously, you would probably know this, Sally. Probably a few of that in the chat will know this. When you're younger and you're in school and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm into video games. And most people are just like, why?
Yeah, I got bullied.
Why?
I mentioned this last time. We used to be called the Zelda crew. I mentioned this last time because, it wasn't trendy to like video games then, where it more is now. It's a big thing. It's like a big deal. It's more normalized. Whereas back then, like in games, you were a nerd. It was not a thing that was fun or attractive to
I mean,
people. It was
and
very
it
much
also,
like you're a nerd. So
yeah, it also depended on like what game you liked as well. Because like if you weren't say like in later teens, if you weren't into Call of Duty, then you were just a nobody. So it was just like. So I remember when I was younger, I used to play games. I've been playing games since like, well, probably like 97 when I got my PS1. So I've been playing games since then. I never had a system before the PS1, or if I did, I cannot recall. Um, but yeah, so like I've been playing for a long time, and a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to go out," and then I'll be like, "Yeah, I kind of just want to sit in and just play this like new game." Like, I remember doing that on my birthday because I got Tony Hawk's American Wasteland a week
oh,
early.
nice, sick,
Bang out of a game.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that out like a week early, and all I wanted to do was just play that game. I just wanted to play that game. But everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to play out. We're going to do this," and I was like, "No, I just want to play this game." And I used to just get bullied for it. It's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it's a totally different
you're
vibe
like
now.
a total loner. Like you don't want to do anything." But now people are much more accepting of video games, and it is
Yay, I've got a
making a
treasure chest.
huge, nice. It's making like a huge impact as well because like now video games are being looked at for like movie franchises and books and stuff. I mean, look at Sonic. Like everyone played Sonic when they were a child, probably, or if not, they know at least of Sonic. But now it's like, oh yeah, it's got a movie franchise which is now successful. But when you start looking at games for like accessibility and stuff, like they bring up some great like features to get more and more people involved. One that I was generally surprised, which was an award winner a couple of years ago, was Forza Horizon 5 had accessibility for deaf people. Where you can turn on a setting and there'll be a person sign language in all the dialogue in the
Oh
game
yeah,
in the corner.
that's such a
And that's like
huge commitment. That.
insane. But then yeah, you got a lot of games where like it personal helps you. Zaya Designs literally just mentioned a game that I was just about to mention. Which is Life is Strange. I played Life is Strange True Colors, and that helped me understand myself a bit.
I don't. What's his true colors? Is I only played the first one with like
okay,
Chloe
so
and
the
all.
first one was like, like it was good, but it wasn't like.
I thought
great.
the first one was pretty good. Like
It was. Good,
I was.
but,
People loved that one, right? I don't know about True Colors. I haven't played it. I don't know what it's like.
True Colors is a lot more grounded. You basically like you. True Colors is a lot more grounded and like a power. It's not a spoiler, but a power is she can read emotions. Like, and it helped me understand like how certain people act and feel, and you got games like that where you sit back and you're like, wow, this is like a good game because I can relate to it because I've been in situations like that. And these games, there's more and more games starting to do that. Another one that Zaya Designs mentioned was Hellblade. Which
Oh yeah,
is,
at the time, yeah, brought a lot of conversation around psychos in the media. Yeah, I feel like Hellblade, like I like the game, but I feel like that it was a bit on the nose personally. But I can understand why people really liked it and liked that representation and felt that it was accurate. That's like obviously at the time that was quite
Hellblade's
revolutionary.
the one with like all the voices
Yeah,
talking in 3D audio.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate. So I'm gonna say this: I appreciate the game what it did, but I did not like the game.
I think this came up the other day that you didn't like it, but I had a good time with it.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I might play it, but my frame of mind at the time, I just could not. I could not deal with it. It literally was just sending me loopy.
It says it was too much in your face, I found.
It was just too much. But I was speaking to people that were playing it, and like the reasons behind they were playing it, and it helped them understand themselves a bit. Which like so it might be something that I might never understand at all, because it might not be a game for me. And I mean that's okay. There is games that's just not for you. But overall, when Hellblade came out, it did help a huge amount of people.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think like games on social impact have been taken way more serious, and is also being used as basically a medium to like express stuff, but also bringing things to attention, like certain subjects. Like there's just some certain subjects. Like I'll bring up one which literally crippled me, which was one of his Cyberpunk endings.
See, like we already talked about it, but I couldn't play it because the bugs. So hopefully the endings were not bugged for you. But maybe don't talk about it in case it's spoilers, in case anyone will eventually play it. But
it's huge spoilers. I don't think I could talk about it because I probably would just get upset on stream. So I don't think I can talk about it, but it helped me understand certain aspects that I was feeling at the time. So
I feel like games can be as emotive as film, TV, books, and they have that power and ability to do that. And so I think games do have a big social impact. I mean, I'm a huge fan of narrative games and storytelling in games, and I do think obviously I played Dragon Age Origins for the first time the other day, and I won't talk about Veilguard, but that was just an absolute masterpiece in storytelling. Absolutely loved it, and I feel like there's also something to be said about when you have a game that you're very deeply invested in, and you're coming home to play it, and you're looking forward to play it every day, and it just becomes a part of your life. And there are games where you finish them and you sit back. It's when you finish a novel that had a big impact on you as well. And you're like, wow, what a game. And you just sit there for a minute while the credits roll and you're just thinking about the journey that you've taken. And because games have that interactive element, you feel like you're part of the story. Particularly with RPGs, which is why I'm a big RPG fan. I think, there's potential for games to have such a massive impact like that.
Like definitely. Because like you're way more immersed in it, and then you just get completely absorbed in the story and the emotions and stuff.
Definitely. Zayed says, I like how heavy topics are wrapped around simple, digestible themes that appeal to a wider audience. I played Psychonauts 2 and it really enjoyed how it tackled heavy emotions. I haven't played that, so I can't comment. Yeah, best RPG. I don't know how I missed that when it came out originally, but I was just blown away by how authentic the characters felt, how grand and the story felt, how nuanced some of the character arcs were. It was amazing. It was so good. I need to read the novels. Yes. I actually went and followed a bunch of the people who wrote on Dragon Age Origins because I was like, like I said, it's one of those games where I just sat with it and I was like, how did I not play this at the time for one? And just, it's just one of those games where it leaves a lasting impression and you just think about it for months after. It's so good. I did play Dragon Age 2, but then I was Dragon Aged out at that point because I think I played it over last Christmas. And so I just played it basically nonstop. And I was like, I need a break and then I'll go back to 2. I've heard Inquisition is nowhere near as good. So I'm like, I probably won't bother with that. But I also played Mass Effect, totally missed that at the time as well. And really, really liked that because the sort of, I guess the trilogy kind of, the package came out where it was all 3 of them. Played that for the first time. I was like, fair enough. I don't feel like we're not getting into games like that anymore. Like maybe that's just me, but I'm like, what's happened? You know?
I don't know. This still games I think will get like that.
Metaphor ReFantazio. I will game of the year. I'm sorry to all of the I'll keep going on about it. Play Metaphor. It avoids the grim dark trap of nihilism. Origin is a historic story that was totally lost by Inquisition. Yeah, I haven't played Inquisition. I probably won't. But yeah, that is completely right. It made you, yeah, it felt epic. It felt like you were, also the way that it crafted the rest of the world around it made it feel like it was a smaller part of a much bigger thing. Yeah, I need a button to spam an ad for Metaphor. Like, play Metaphor ReFantazio. It's so good. I feel like, I talked about this last time, but the reason why I like Metaphor is it does have a lot of grand themes. It has a lot of that tie into this epic story, epic adventure, but it also treats the characters very sincerely. And me and the co-founder were talking about this the other day, about how it treats the characters with respect and it's sincere. And I just really enjoy that aspect of it. And I think Persona's quite good at that too. And I think they've built on the foundations of their narrative design there. And it's come through a Metaphor. So I enjoy it very much for that reason as well. If you can get into it, yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. So I haven't played it, but I've heard that is very good as well. I need to play it as well. I missed a lot of things that weren't Nintendo, and I think I regret that because Nintendo is very. I mean, I love Zelda. That was a huge impact on me in terms of like wanting to work in games, but Nintendo is very mechanic focused, and they are the masters of game mechanics. But yeah, there's obviously other games that have an amazing sort of narrative arc, and I missed out on some of those if they were on other platforms. But yeah, I envy you getting to play that one for the first time. Yeah, honestly, I couldn't believe I missed out on it, and it was just, yeah. I knew that's a good question actually. Which game, for everybody in the chat, which game do you wish that you could play again for the first time? You know, having erased your memory and just experiencing it for the first time and being like, wow, at the end, and being like, yeah, just a game that kind of sticks with you. Yeah. Witcher 3, I loved Witcher 3. You know what, right? I started Witcher 3 like 3 or 4 times and I was like, I can't get on with this. And I'm not sure, I can't recall exactly why. I think I just found a lot of the characters annoying at first and I couldn't, I didn't like Geralt at first actually. But after that, like I feel like Geralt's relationship with Ciri was something that I was like, okay. And I really, really, at the end of Witcher 3, I felt so invested. And it, again, that was one of the ones where I sat when the credits were rolling and was just overwhelmed that it was over. Yeah, really, really liked Witcher 3. Books are fantastic, yeah. Breath of the Wild. Okay, right, I didn't like Breath of the Wild. And I know that's a very controversial thing to say. I liked Tears of the Kingdom a lot more. Yeah, again, it was because, I mean, open world games to me, like, I mean, we've talked a lot about RPGs and things like that and the kind of storytelling. And when you have an open world game, it's a lot more difficult to weave the narrative in a way. And the way that Breath of the Wild did it was there was like these little memories that you kind of collect. And I just felt that didn't feel as impactful to me. And Zelda has a lot of kind of, there's more depth of lore to it outside of the game than in the game sometimes. And I used to spend way too much time on the Zelda Universe forums debating all of these little Easter eggs in Zelda about the Zelda narrative. But I feel like Breath of the Wild was mechanically very good, but it didn't feel Zelda-ish to me. However, that is very much like my first impression. Like, I definitely came around to finishing. I finished Breath of the Wild and I came around to liking it a lot more. But I felt Tears of the Kingdom was a better experience narratively and it just felt more cohesive. So I got along better with Tears of the Kingdom. And I finished that a lot quicker. I finished every Zelda game ever. But Breath of the Wild, it took me like 2 years, whereas most of them I'd just finished them straight away. So yeah. Elder Scrolls of Oblivion, Melty Faces and all. Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good choice. Yeah. Good choice. Trying to think if there's any on my list. Is there any more? Is there any on your list, Daniel? What would
I
you
think for
replay?
me, if it was, say, Cyberpunk, if it didn't have all the issues.
Why do you love Cyberpunk so much, man? I don't get it.
I mean,
don't get
it's one of my favorite genres to start off with. Like, I mean, you got
fair.
like my genre is just like Cyberpunk. I mean, you're talking like Blade Runner, and you're talking like Blade Runner. You're talking Ghost in the Shell, Akira. Like those were a lot of stuff that I watched when I was growing up. So like,
So it hits the nostalgia point for you.
Yeah, so I love that setting. But if it was like, if I could wipe my memory of Cyberpunk and it had the expansion at the same time,
without all the
without
gnarly
any of the
bugs.
issues,
Bro, all the
I
games in the world and
definitely-
it's Cyberpunk, man. I can't.
it's
I can't.
it's like one of my top games of all time.
I'm just ribbing you, man. But man,
It will either be that or Fallout New Vegas.
I mean, fair.
I mean, Fallout New Vegas without the issues. I tried to
thought-
play that on the PC recently and it just crashed within 5 minutes. I'm like, yep, this is how it goes.
Okay, that's not good. Cyberpunk Anime was really good. Yeah, I didn't finish it and I can't remember why. I think I just got really busy with work stuff. I can't remember why I didn't finish it, but yeah,
That will
I need to.
definitely
You
make
reminded
you
me. I
cry.
need to. You reminded me. I
That
need to.
will definitely make you cry.
See, I don't cry very easily, so maybe I'm just cold. I can't be sitting at home crying. It's not the Yorkshire way, but maybe it will. Maybe it will. When I think of Akira, I just think of the wham forehead. FNB is the easy answer. Get
Yeah,
away.
I mean, New Vegas is like one of the best RPGs ever made. So, you know, of course it's an easy answer.
I'm trying to think if I've got any more, but I think that's, you know, I did play Dragon Age recently, so Dragon Age Origins recently, so it's like wiped. I mean, I'd play Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask again for the first time because those were the games where I'm like, I'm going to work in the game industry. They had such an impact. Majora's Mask sort of dark theming was very interesting to me at the time. It was very different from the rest of the Zelda games. There's some of the stuff in Zelda does have some, I guess, dark undertones and themes, but Majora's Mask in particular was, so I found that interesting. And again, spending too much time on the Zelda universe forums discussing the lore, arguing about it. Yeah, I'd probably play that again. Shall we played Elden Ring, liked Elden Ring. I like the way the Elden Ring community talks about the story and the way that the story is delivered because it's obviously quite different. And people just make videos that are like hours long of just one particular thing. And yeah, I just find it cool that the community takes the time. I think some of our narrative delivery has some some similarities. Hopefully. Yeah. Let's look at another question. If you could change anything about the game industry, what would it be? And same to people in the chat. If there's anything you could change about the industry, what would it be? Crunch. There's much less crunch nowadays than there was. I think I mentioned this last time. Like I say, I used to do... this is going to be really weird, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I actually really like doing crunch, which I was right at the start of my career when I was doing those really long weeks, and I was learning tons. And I made some friends that I was the bridesmaid at the wedding. You know,
my webcam's broke. Sorry.
Oh, it is, and you're like in a very thoughtful pose.
I'm in a very thoughtful pose.
I think it's kind of catching up with itself a bit. Are you still there, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just trying to see if it's still broke.
It moved. But yeah. Shall we take a short break? And then in the last 10 minutes we'll talk about what we would change about the game industry, because I've got way too many things to say about that.
Oh, I just caught a whale.
What?
Yeah.
Where are
yeah.
you?
I'm
Wait. Okay, right. And we didn't see your reaction. That's the saddest thing ever. Oh my god, what the hell?
no.
That's crazy. Why do you get all the best? Like, I'm the one streaming and you get all the best fish, so that's just boring for everybody. Like, look at that. That's so crazy. Oh my god.
Look how happy it is.
It's a happy guy living his best life.
I don't know if it's happy just to be pulled out of the ocean.
I know, probably not. Probably not. Right, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break while I fix Daniel's webcam, and then we shall return and we'll answer the question about what we would change about the industry. And if there's any more meanwhile in the last 10, 15 minutes we've got, then obviously post them in the chat. We will be back very shortly. Hello. Hopefully this is working now. Yeah, it looks to be working again. Oh, I'm so sad we didn't get your reaction to getting the whale.
I know, it was so unexpected.
Let's do a fake one and someone clip it, please. Okay? Right, I'm going to turn around. And then you shout, oh my god, a whale. And then I'll turn around. Put on your best poker face. You shout, oh my god, a whale.
Oh, wait, sorry.
You're the one who caught the whale, not me.
Oh my god, a whale! Wow!
Oh my god! We totally didn't script any of this.
Wow.
What the heck?
This is insane, guys. Look
my
how
God.
happy it is.
Why have you've become like a YouTube? You know, hey, like and subscribe, guys. We've become the most cringe.
Hey, you should follow this channel, guys.
Oh my god, we're the worst cringe ever. There you go. Someone clip that. Oh no, it was too cringe. I'm sorry. I don't want that to be forever on our channel.
We'll have that for the end of time. It'll be like, oh my god,
Lord.
guys!
Please no.
Everyone at the studio will just be like, oh, you done the thing. You done it.
I've done the like and subscribe. Anyway, so we're back. We'll answer the last question. If there's any more that you want to put in the chat, then ask away. That's what we're here for. We're gonna do more of these. Probably have more to talk about next week. We'll see what we get up to. Maybe. So yeah. But for now, in terms of things that I'd change about the industry, I mean, the list is very, 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 very long. But I think I mentioned this last time in terms of I guess the way developers and players communicate with each other. There's just too much hostility in that. And I already said earlier that I prefer to have honest, open, transparent conversations with players about things that could be better about the game, areas for improvement, just, any feedback that they might have. And I definitely, I mean, it's different between studios and who you talk to, but I definitely sense from some people that there is this sort of, I don't understand it, because literally, if people are not playing the game and they're not engaged with the game, then our company doesn't exist. So you owe everything to the players that are playing your game. And that doesn't mean that you have to do everything that somebody suggests, because often there are decisions in the game that are polarizing, and you need to stick to the core vision of your game and what your game is meant to be. But I think there should definitely be an open dialogue, and it doesn't need to be hostile. The clip got censored, alas. I don't know why.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean, we'll have a VOD anyway, so we got.
I don't need that
evidence.
immortalized on the internet, please.
It's going to be there.
But yeah, anyone in chat that does work in games or is working adjacent to the game industry, or anyone, in fact, actually, as from a player's perspective, what would you change about the game industry if you could? I'd be very, very interested in knowing that, because I'm part of it. So, particularly from an outsider's perspective, I think that would be very interesting. and DLC for all time. I mean, DLC. I did used to like. So wait. Hold up. There's reasons why I agree with this. Okay, and it's because when you used to make a game, even 13 years ago, stop getting the whale out. Stop showing off. You would make a game. The game would be done. You would have a massive celebration, huge party. You'd be like, job well done. Everyone loves this game. They've played it. It's memorable. It's enjoyable. We all have a nice rest. We move on. The players love it. Cool. Hopefully. Right? And then you move on and you make the next one. I like that style and that makes me happy. Now you have to work on the game forevermore. You have to make new content. You have to milk it. I think DLC is okay if it provides genuine value to the players and it builds upon what's there narratively. It integrates well with the existing story. If there is something more to say or something that the players want, I'm not against that. I think there are... it's got to be of value, you know? So, yeah. I think that... I don't like microtransactions, though. Loot boxes, microtransactions, cosmetics, stuff like that. Not a fan.
I think for me, if there was something I would want to change, is live service. It just drags games on for too long.
Some players love it, but I'm just like I'm done, bro.
Yeah.
Let me move on.
So I'm going to mention a game which Sally would probably guess. Anybody that's in the studio would definitely guess is Destiny 2. By the end of it, I was just so bloody ready just to uninstall that game.
To be fair,
I just wanted it over.
I get why, but then we also just had that massive conversation about like how difficult it is to sustain a studio with the game as it is. So I understand why studios feel the need to do it. It's not my jam. I like to play a game, like our game is like this. It's not a live service game. Play a game, have an amazing, memorable experience, finish it, be on the credit screen and be like, that was amazing, and then be done, and then move on to the next game. That's how I see our game too. But DLC and live service are different things. I feel like our game could be suited to DLC.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
That depends.
But
and only if it feels like it's good, it's value, right?
Yeah, but for me, live service games, some companies do it really well, and then some companies are just like, yeah, we're just going to make it a live service because this is what people want. And some games end up being a live service when it could have been better just as...
Yeah, like a standalone experience.
Like a standalone experience with expansions, maybe. Like, you make the game and you're like, okay, there's this, but then we'll just expand on it with expansions. But when, like, I've seen some games where I'm like, this game's could have been really good, but they decide just to keep it as a live service and keep going.
Sometimes you just want a sequel as well. It's like, I need new content, I need new narrative, I don't want to play the same mechanics. I need new stuff.
Yeah, that's it. I actually don't mind a sequel because every time there's a sequel, it's going to be fresh when you play it. So I don't mind sequels. Like, I think if, like, example for Destiny 2 again is towards the end of a life, they had a Destiny 3 instead. I think I would have enjoyed that more and it would have brought me back. But now, because they just dragged it on for so long, if they mention Destiny 3 now, I'll not even play it.
Yeah, I guess.
Might have been one of my favorite IPs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like we said, it's they have to do things to be sustainable, and that's probably one of those things nowadays. So, but yeah, I do like the old school sort of. Maybe I'm just nostalgic for how things were back in the day. Yeah, but yeah, no, that was an interesting one. Nobody got tired of Mega Man back in the day. Imagine DLC for that. Yeah, true. Yeah, there was a different time where people invested more in the games that they bought, and there wasn't such an overcrowded market, and you'd give it more time, give it more grace, and you'd play it over and over and over and over. Oh, those were the days. Like I said, playing that Lion King first level 20 times. Never got bored. Nostalgic for old school. The simpler times.
I feel like if you gave that a shot now, you'd probably just curse it.
Yeah.
Like if
I'll
you
give it a
got
good
Lion
go.
King right now, you'll be like, nah, I've got better things to do.
Yeah. Jared says opinions on price point in games, especially around AA level. I mean, like I say, it's tricky. Like even AA games can be quite costly these days, but also, like I say, I think it's important to, a lot of the time people try, when they make a game with a really tight feature set and they're like, oh, we're AA, so we need to manage the scope and we have to pick one mechanic and stuff like that. And I feel like that does box you in to the point where you kind of limiting yourself before you've already begun and you're not creating value. So that's a mindset thing. And also you can manage the scope and keep the feature set tight if you want, but I feel like ambition is important. So yeah, it's tricky. Like there's so much variation when it comes to what AA is. It's difficult to know if we're sort of talking about the same thing, I suppose. But I find that what I do is I'll buy a game in the sort of 50 to 60, bracket. And then I'll play that, finish that, and then I'm like, I think I want a smaller game in between the next big thing. I don't want to play another 100-hour game. I want to play a smaller, shorter experience in the £20 bracket, £30 bracket, £40 bracket, and just have a good time with it while I wait for the next thing that I'm really, really looking forward to. And sometimes the smaller games in that kind of space, I really enjoy. And I like them better than the AAA game or the big game I've played. So I think there's space for different types. I play a lot of much smaller indie games, like the £10. My range of games that I play is quite broad. So I think there's space for when you are trying to get that ebb and flow of playing different games for different price points. But then other people treat it entirely differently. Like some people will just try and play every RPG that comes out that seems half decent, indie games, AAA games, like they're genre fans. So everyone seems to have a very different approach to like that. In terms of pricing your games, like I said, there's an evaluation of player value there, and then there's what's realistic to get a return on your investment in terms of what you've spent on the game. So it's you got to approach it from both of those angles. I think.
I want to say, I don't think you'll ever get better value to entertainment than video games.
Legit, honestly, because obviously,
if you think about it, it's like you could say like, oh, I want to do like a skydiving experience, and then you see the price of like how much a skydiving experience is, and that's over in like an hour. Whereas like if you get a game, it's like you could spend say 40 quid on a game, and then that gives you say 30 hours. Which some gamers are like, oh, but I didn't get like my hours per minute, and that's not always the case. Like
it's quality as well as like value in terms of time. That's important.
But if you think about it, it's like you can spend like £40 on a game for 30 hours, and it's like try and compare that with any other type of entertainment. You just can't.
Oh my god, there's a. Can I do this? Hang on. No. Oh my gosh. I got one that was like 33. So don't be upset with me, but I have a vertical mouse. I think I mentioned this last time, and it's very hard to like click that many times on a vertical mouse. It's just not designed for it. Cursed. So I'm going to blame the bad workman blames the tools, but there you go. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, we're basically coming to the end of the stream now. So I just wanted to check if anyone has any more like pressing questions or anything you want to know. But there'll be time in another stream as well. Like come and hang out anytime. We'll answer. It's all good. But yeah, thanks so much for everyone that chatted with us today. I always really appreciate it. It just makes everything so much easier when people are genuinely interested. I feel like we've had some really interesting conversations, and people have shared perspectives that I maybe hadn't considered as well. So we've had loads of good conversations. So thank you very much for your contributions to that. But yeah.
Yeah, so it was a lot of good questions on this stream.
Indeed.
Some I was just like, there's like a good thought needs to be happening right now before I answer.
That's fair, and we can definitely do that and come back to it. I answered too quickly on the fly, and then I'm like, and then obviously I'm like, what about this? No, what about this? What about this? So Yeah, but a lot of the things I do, like obviously when you run a studio, you do deeply think about many philosophical questions related to game development, storytelling. Yeah, it's part of it, especially when you've played games as long as we have. You're always thinking about these things, really. So, but then also some things are fresh, so that's good. But yeah, thanks very much for joining us, and I'm so glad it's been insightful. Really enjoyed it. That's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate it. If you don't already follow us, then please do, because we will be doing more streams. We're going to try and do them regularly. It'll probably be around this time on a Tuesday, unless we get very busy with what we're doing with the game. But yeah, it's nice to see familiar faces and new people joining the chat as well. So yeah, thanks very much for your time. You've decided to spend a couple of hours with us, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you very much, everybody. And yeah.
Yes, thank you for all coming in.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon. Well, hang on. It needs to show off the wheel again. Hang on, let me just reel this back in so we can
I was
finish.
having a whale of a time.
Oh, stop. Please no. Look at this achievement. Amazing.
And trying to show its happy face.
I know, it's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. This is not... I tried to end on a high, and now I've just... Okay, there. You've seen the whale now. Amazing. Right, thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you again very soon. I've got a stream deck now, so I can be very fancy and just press a button and say bye-bye to you all. So I'm living in the future, honestly. But yeah, thanks very much, guys. We'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.